Hey everyone. This is a really unpleasant video, but it's also very important and useful. According to unnamed sources, journalists have learned that back in May of 2025, DHS issued a directive that allows ICE agents, well, to break down doors. This is something we've talked about a lot. Remember, when Trump came to power, a lot of lawyers, including our firm, since we have 8 attorneys, told you how to behave. And the lawyers at our firm explained that for an ICE agent to enter your doors, to be able to come into your home, apartment, and so on, they need not just some kind of internal DHS warrant, which they could bring, but what they actually need is a warrant from a judge, and most often a federal judge. And as a rule, ICE agents did not have such a warrant. But suddenly, right before everyone's eyes, as they say, ICE agents started breaking down the doors of people's homes in the US. And one of those people even turned out to be a US citizen. And then members of Congress and senators said, wait a minute. Well, they got interested, as did human rights activists and journalists. They all wanted to know what was going on. How could this be happening? And basically, 2 whistleblowers came forward and said that this directive was so highly classified because it contradicts the Constitution. It violates basic rights protected by the Constitution. And so these whistleblowers said that it was so secret that ICE agents were trained about it verbally, which, by the way, goes against the internal requirements and rules within the ICE department itself. Well, naturally, lawsuits were already being filed and so on. First, you have to prove that the directive actually exists. So there are a ton of problems there, but whose doors can actually be broken into? Doors can be broken into in 3 cases: if a person has lost in court, if a person has lost at the appeals level, or if a person has lost at the federal court level. And here's a really interesting point, which isn't covered there and which we don't know, and probably won't know, until this all goes to a full trial. If a person loses at the court level, they have the right to appeal. So can they break down the door of someone who lost at the court level and say within a month is trying to gather money to file an appeal? Because ever since Trump came in, just the appeal form itself costs $1,010, plus you also need to pay for a lawyer. But if you lose at the appellate court level, then you have to go to federal court. It's the same thing there. You need time, money for a lawyer, and so on. And does that moment count when you've already lost at the BIA level but haven't yet filed in federal court? Does that period of time count as, important? Like someone could literally break down your door and bust in with a battering ram? There are no answers, and we won't get them until someone goes, until human rights advocates, senators, basically everyone goes to court and it becomes known there. Take care of yourselves as much as possible. Remember, the information we're sharing here isn't meant to scare you, but to let you know what's going on so you stay informed and understand what's really happening.